Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Green and I'm accompanied by Mr. Marr this evening and it's our pleasure to introduce the sixth form to you here at Sir Christopher Academy and to talk about some of the options that may be available to you this year and moving forward. Okay. So, firstly, the sixth form team. So this is us. I'm Mr. Green, so I'm at the top there. I don't really look like this anymore, but if you imagine that picture with no hair, that's me. I'm the head of sixth form and I'm also head of year 13. You will shortly hear from Mr. Marr, who is head of year 12. And then we have the wonderful Mrs. Mulcahy, who is our sixth form support. She's like the mum of the sixth form, basically, who looks after us all, including me and Mr. Marr. Okay, and the structure for this presentation, everybody. So the way we're going to go through it, we realise you've not got masses of time, so we're going to try and keep it as to the point as possible with just the key information. So the first thing we're going to talk about is sixth form success stories and why we're so proud of our sixth form. Then we're going to talk about destinations and where our students go and what they go on to do. Then we're going to look at how you can choose the right subject at Key Stage 5, make sure you're making the correct option subjects to get to where you want to go. Then I'll talk you through the pastoral and academic support in the sixth form, then the extracurricular opportunities in the sixth form, and then finally, how to apply to our sixth form and the different stages of the application process. Okay, so this graph here, this is called ALPS. Now some of you will know exactly what ALPS is, but a lot of you won't. Okay, so ALPS, broadly speaking, is a comparison of all the sixth forms in the country. So obviously, the better your ALPS score, then the better you are in comparison to other sixth forms in the UK. And I'm really, really pleased to say that for the last 3 years, we have averaged an ALPS of 2. That puts us in the top 10% of sixth forms in the entire country, and that's something we are extremely proud of. And as you can see there at the top of the indicator, that means that our outcomes for our students are outstanding, and that's because of numerous things. It's because of the teaching, it's because of the pastoral support, but of course it's down to the students themselves and the amazing students that we have in the sixth form. Okay. So, as I said before, we're really proud of the students, so we just want to go on into a little bit more depth here about some of the things that our students achieve when they're with us. So, as you can see, 2 years ago, our students were doing very well. The average grade for academic qualifications was a B-. But since then, in the intervening 2 years, we've been able to up that to a B+, which, again, we're extremely proud of for the average student to be leaving with a B+ in each subject. Obviously is a phenomenal achievement and just goes to show it's testament to the great teaching that we have here. You'll also see something called an average point score. That's what universities take into account when they're looking at what you've achieved. And as you can see, our students year on year are achieving more. So obviously 35.57 points in 2 years ago, and then up to 42 points in the year just past. Also, for vocational qualifications, because it's important to remember that sixth form is about lots of different qualifications. Sometimes we think of it as just being A-levels, but it isn't. It's BTECs as well, and it's vocational subjects. They're a huge part of what we do. As you can see, 2 years ago, we were achieving, or the students on average were achieving a high merit, which was good. And since then, we've improved that to a distinction star. Obviously, you can't get any better than that, so we're extremely proud of that. And again, our vocational students, as you can see there, the average point score that they are achieving has been going up year on year. Okay, so once our students have got these results, where do they then go? Well, as you can see in the destinations pie chart that Mr. Marr put together rather beautifully here, around about 90%, just under, of our students go on to university. So the vast majority of our students will go on to university, and we're extremely proud to say that a quarter of them go on to Russell Group universities. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, what Russell Group means is that is the top 30 universities. They're in a category of their own. They're called the Russell Group universities, and a quarter of our students end up going to one of those top universities, with another 64% going to universities in general. But then, you know, sixth form is very much a means to an end. There are different successes for different people. Not everybody wants to go to university, and we're pleased to say that we've got students doing other things. I'm going to show you a little bit more about it in a second. But we've got students who go on to do apprenticeships, We've got students who go on to do other college courses, perhaps to specialise in an area. We've got a couple of students who've gone on to the armed services and also into employment. So 1 or 2 of our students have gone into employment. But as you can see, the vast majority go on to university. Okay, so we are proud of all of our students, but we've picked out a few who we think have done exceptionally well, and I just wanted to talk to you about some of these students and the journey they've been on. So firstly, I want to look at our real high flyers. We're pleased to say in the last couple of years, we've had a couple of students go to Oxford. We're really working each year on our Oxbridge provision. Mr. Marr is going to talk to you a little bit about that a little bit later on. But you can see Maria and Harry have gone on to Oxford to study medicine and chemistry respectively, and they have done so well. We've got Shiv as well. Now Shiv no doubt could have gone to Oxbridge, but it isn't the be-all and end-all, so he's gone to the University of Warwick to study mathematics, having achieved 4 A stars. What an incredible achievement. But hopefully what that goes to show you is that students with high prior attainment, students who with high potential, achieve their potential in our sixth form. Okay, and again, some more success stories here. I just want to pick out a couple here just to give you a flavour of how success might look different for different students. So firstly, we've got Vienna. Now, Vienna did brilliantly. So she's gone to Newcastle to do law, but she took a slightly unusual route. She did 4 BTECs, okay? And what she did, though, was she did those BTECs extremely well. Okay, so she did business, IT, BTEC, health and social care, 3 BTECs, but she excelled in those areas. So by getting distinction stars in all 3 areas, she was able to get into a top university to do a top course. Okay, so just some food for thought. A-levels might not be for everybody. It might be that BTECs could still get you to where you want to go. And then I just wanted to pick out Mate. Mate is a student, again, we're really proud of. He joined us in year 7. He had English as an additional language. His English wasn't great. He was a very bright lad, and we were able to support him through 7 to 11. He did well in his GCSEs, but then since then, he really came into his own. So in our sixth form, he was able to specialise in those subjects he was really interested in: Spanish, English language, literature, philosophy, and ethics. And as you can see, he absolutely smashed it with some amazing grades. Okay, so people will have different starting points, but can still achieve and go on to do great things.
And of course, there are other ways that students can be successful, so there are other routes that our students take. So, for example, Dua, who was with us for 2 years, Dua did a combination of BTEC and A-levels. Now, sometimes students not fall into the trap, I'm not sure if that's the right expression, but sometimes students think, I am a BTEC student or I am an A-level student. But there's absolutely no reason why you can combine the two, so you get sort of a slightly different experience, I guess, whilst you're studying. So you've got your sort of coursework-based element with BTEC, and then you've got your more academic exam-based elements with, for instance, sociology and politics A-levels that Dua did. So you can do a combination of the two. Then we've also got Erpen. Now, interestingly, Erpen joined us as an external student. She hadn't done years 7 to 11 at Hatton. She'd been elsewhere. She came to us for year 12, was absolutely brilliant, became our head girl, did an incredible job, and just fitted in so well from the word go. Erpen had lots of different offers, as you can imagine, from different universities, but she's decided to do something slightly different. She applied to an apprenticeship with the Home Office, and she was successful. She's going to be working on international development projects, and she actually did that through our careers interviews that we set up. So you have 2 of those a year. Erpen sat in a second one and said, after everything, I'm not sure if I want to go to university. So that's where her and our careers support looked at the different options that Erpen could take, and they realised that with her credentials there was an opportunity with the Home Office, and thankfully she was successful in gaining that apprenticeship. So no doubt she'll go on to become super successful in that. And then lastly, we've got Chloe. Again, Chloe is a great example of a student who went down the vocational BTEC route, outstanding results in business, health and social care and applied science, distinction stars and distinctions. And she's slightly different from the rest. What she has decided to do, which I think is a fantastic move, is that she is going to be doing an apprenticeship with a company called the Encounter Group. But while she's doing that, she's going to be earning a marketing degree part-time. So best of both worlds, if you like. So she'll be working, getting paid, but also earning a degree as she goes along. So there are lots of different ways that you can be successful. There isn't just one route. You have to find what works for you, and we are always on hand to help you get there.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Now, what I'm going to talk to you now about is how it is you choose your subjects and important things, because when you come to choosing subjects, you need to make sure you choose the right course for you. So, first of all, to explain a little bit of how we do things at Sir Christopher Hatton, we have 5 option blocks that the subjects are split into. You'll see them later on in the PowerPoint labelled blocks A to E. As a Year 12 student, you would need to pick one subject from 4 of the blocks, okay? That 5th block would then become your free period. Now, we get you to choose 4 subjects because that enables you to keep your options open. That means as you go through Year 12, you can decide which subjects are working best for you, which subjects you find you're enjoying. Because sometimes that step between GCSE and A-level can be quite a step up. And those subjects that you really enjoyed at GCSE, maybe you're finding at A-level isn't exactly what you were expecting. You might also find that some subjects that you're really good at, you might be struggling at. By starting on 4 subjects, that allows us that as we move towards the second half of Year 12, you look at dropping one of those subjects. Hopefully, you will get to choose the one that you drop over the one as the one that you are enjoying the least. But sometimes you might need to look at the results and potentially look at dropping a subject where you are doing quite badly in. In the remainder of Year 12, instead of getting an extra study period, you get what's called a private study session. Now, we're going to talk about more of them a little bit later when we look at the support that we put in place for students in Year 12. When it comes to choosing the subjects, it's a little bit different to what it was at GCSE, where to all intents and purposes, you could just choose whatever subject. The subjects themselves will all have entry requirements. Now, we've broadly split them into 2 pathways. Pathway 1 and Pathway 2. For Pathway 1 subjects, which are more the science subjects and the maths and things like that, you would need to have 8 GCSE grade 9 to 4 or equivalent from a vocational subject like a BTEC, and you need to have grade 4 in English and in maths. For the Pathway 2 subjects, it's basically the same, except you only need 5 GCSEs grade 9 to 4 or your vocational equivalents. Each different subject, though, will still have their own entry requirements, and you absolutely should look through the prospectus, talk to the teachers, and find out what the different requirements are going to be for the different subjects. So here we can see what the option blocks look like for the Pathway 1 subjects. As you can see, you've got blocks A, B, C, D, and E. So maths, English, literature are in block A, biology, computer science, etc. are in block B. Now that does mean that when you go to choose the subjects, there are some combination subjects that you just can't be chosen. For example, you can't do biology and computer science. Some subjects, especially the more popular ones, we put in multiple blocks. You can see straight away maths is in both block A and in block D. This shows the Pathway 2 option blocks. And again, you can see some of our very popular ones like BTEC Business is in Block B and Block D. But again, between the Pathway 1 and Pathway 2, you would pick 4 of those subjects. And if, for example, you chose Geography, History, Politics, and BTEC Applied Science, then when the Block B lessons were going on, that would be when you would have your free period.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Marr, for making that crystal clear. If anyone does have any questions, you can ask us about the option blocks at the end, of course, or you can email us if you have any questions. So while we're here, please make use of us. The next thing we're going to talk about is pastoral support. Now, I mentioned this earlier on. We're really proud of the outcomes that our sixth formers achieve, but it wouldn't happen without the amazing pastoral support here at Hatton. And I think this is a real strength of the sixth form, and it's one of the main reasons behind our success. Okay, so this is how our sixth form team is structured. Obviously, you've got myself, Mr. Marr, Mrs. Mulcahy, okay, and we kind of run the sixth form on a day-to-day basis. But then we have a fantastic and dedicated group of tutors. They really are a brilliant group of tutors, very, very experienced. And where I think maybe we have a bit of an advantage over other sixth forms, or something I think we do really, really well, is a lot of our sixth form tutors rather have a direct stake in the sixth form. So, for example, Miss Williams is our EPQ coordinator. Mr. Lane does an incredible job on careers, okay, and he's worked incredibly hard at that, especially over the last 2 years of really putting a lot into sixth form careers and helping you with your next steps. We've also got Mrs. Dutt, who is our Ucas coordinator, so she will help you through the Ucas process. That's built into our life skills program as well, so that's partly why, or largely why, a lot of our students get good outcomes in terms of the universities they go to, because we have that support from Mrs. Dutt. And we also have Mr. Benjamin, who is our societies coordinator. Societies is something I'm going to talk to you about very, very shortly. But if you just look at the other names on the list, all of those teachers are experienced, and they are all heads of department or heads of faculty, so you will be in very, very capable hands, and they are all wonderful people and very, very approachable tutors. And again, as I said before, they're a huge part of the success that we've achieved. Okay, so within the sixth form, obviously we've talked a lot about results so far, and ultimately it is about your results, isn't it, and how you do when you get that slip of paper at the end of the 2 years. But also, it's about developing as a person, okay? So what I want to talk to you about now, very briefly, is the extracurricular opportunities we have in the sixth form and how we plan to develop you as a person as well as a student.
First and foremost, amongst opportunities available to our sixth form students, and also the highest position they can rise to, would be our senior or head students. They are elected from our Year 12s every year. They will, at the end of Year 12, students who want to run for head student will put themselves forward. They will do speeches in front of their peer base. They'll be interviewed by the sixth form team, and then we'll assign from that 2 head students and a group of senior students. And what we're going to do now is we're going to let our current head students and senior students introduce themselves to you.
Hi, I'm Patricia. I'm one of the head students here at Hatton. And to me, sixth form is a plethora of opportunities and the ability to truly embrace who you are as an individual. This is due to the fact that at Hatton, we do not solely focus on the academic aspects of our educational journey, but look beyond the textbooks and the curriculum to cherish and celebrate our passions and aspirations. For example, by studying history, I was able to become a Holocaust Educational Trust Ambassador, which enabled me to look more closely at a topic that I hold dear to my heart, as it is a massive part of my country's history. But I was also able to consider the psychology behind this historical event, which directly links to what I want to study at university. By having these opportunities, I had the ability to grow as an individual and become more confident in my hopes and ambitions. But we also find ways of relaxing and coming together, from movie nights to Christmas shopping trips to even online quiz nights during lockdown. There is always something for you to get involved in, to not only embrace your uniqueness, but to also build a stronger community. Hatton Sixth Form opens so many doors for its students, which is why I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to study here at this academy.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and for me, Hatton was the obvious choice when looking at sixth forms. I already felt comfortable here when doing my GCSEs and knew this is where I'd want to continue my educational journey. One of the reasons I love Hatton Sixth Form is my teachers are all passionate about their subjects and make sure that I achieve the best of my ability. They are always available to help me and support me when I need it. However, it's not just the academic side that's good. We have great learning facilities that are specifically for sixth form, which we can use for self-study and relaxation. There is a strong sense of community spirit with the event we do all together. There are lots of opportunities to extend yourself. During lockdown, Hatton helped me find virtual online work experience, which I was able to complete and has now strengthened my personal statement.
Hello, I'm Jessica and I'm one of the senior students. As soon as I started thinking about post-16 pathways, I knew that Hatton was going to be my first option. The teaching style at the academy helped me progress in subjects I was not so confident in, and the same principle follows in sixth form. With this, I'm encouraged to aim for excellence and progress in all my subjects. I especially enjoy sixth form at Hatton because of the nature of A-levels. Picking my own subjects allowed me to tailor my education to my future aspirations, which I received support for. Mr. Green and Mr. Marr, who make up the sixth form team, reassure me that whatever path I go down, whether that's university or a degree apprenticeship, will be supported. But Hatton isn't just about learning, there's lots to get involved in. For me, I did things like becoming a mental health ambassador and entered my debating society into a national debating competition. You can make sixth form what you want it to be and tailor it to your interests.
Hi, I'm Neil. I'm the second head student here at Hatton, and I'd just like to take the time to talk about what makes this sixth form unique. Now, although I might be a little bit biased, I can honestly say that this sixth form is the most supportive, interconnected, and friendly learning environments I've ever been in. This sixth form teaches students many life skills that can be used long after they finish their A-levels. Skills such as independent study, application of wider reading, and skills to do with adult life outside of academia. There are even designated staff to help with specific things that we might need help with. For example, the lovely Miss Mulcahy, who helps us with time management and stress and any other teething problems we might have. And we have Miss Dutt, who specifically helps us with university applications, and the support we get with our references and personal statements is incredible. Simply put, if you choose a sixth form, it will give you all the tools you need to develop into whatever sort of person you want to be, so you can achieve your future aspirations.
Okay, thank you very much to the head students for talking there and sharing their thoughts on what makes us a great sixth form. Hopefully you're inspired by some of the things that they said. So, sixth form should be enjoyable. Okay, in our opinion, you can't achieve unless you are enjoying your sixth form experience, and that again, that's all tied in with those great results at the end. Is that we like to think that our students very much enjoy their time with us, and we make sure that that is achieved through numerous means. So, if you are interested in developing yourself personally, then you could apply, of course, to be a head student, like these head students we've just heard from. But obviously, that's a fairly select group of people. Not everybody will get into that. But what you can do, or there's even more opportunities to do, is to be a house captain. Okay, so the house captains kind of report into our head students, and we've got some amazing house captains, and they help to run events around the school. They help to promote the school through media. They work with younger year groups to support them. They help out at events that we do throughout the school calendar. So you are very much, or they are very much, the face of Hatton as a house captain. We also have our societies. Now, I alluded to this a little bit earlier on when I referred to Mr. Benjamin. He's our societies coordinator. Societies, for those of you who don't know, the idea is something we took from universities. They're small clubs, well, sometimes they're not small, but they're essentially clubs where people with similar interests gather together to basically just enjoy and discuss that particular area of interest. So, for example, earlier on today, the Music Society met together to talk about the latest releases and so on and so forth. We have a Gaming Society, we have a Chess Society, we have a Board Game Society, we have a Medical Society, Cultural Awareness we have as well, Feminism. Anything that you're interested in, you are welcome to set up a society to talk about. So that's a nice thing, you know, if you're someone who perhaps you don't fancy being a head student or a house captain, you can certainly run your own society with a small group of people with similar interests. And that's also really nice because it's a way of socialising with other people within the sixth form. You find that you've got common interests with people that perhaps you've never met before, and you get to know them, and that's how you can make friends and obviously build your kind of social network. We've also got social and sporting activities. So, for example, just today, we've put in all the paperwork. We're going off on a shopping trip, a Christmas shopping trip to Milton Keynes, which we're all looking forward to. So we're going to go as a whole sixth form, eat out, and just generally have a great time. Last week, or the week just before half term, we had our film night. So the students were able to vote for the film that they wanted to. So a lot of students came down for that, which was great. We've got our Christmas movie night coming up this term. So again, the students are going to be voting on the best Christmas film. Could get a little bit contentious. We'll see how that goes. We've also got numerous sporting activities you can get involved in. So, for example, we had the Wondering Trophy just at the back end of last term, where students were chucking dodgeballs at teachers, obviously all above board, having a great time. And again, we have events that are just for sixth formers. Trips, as I've already kind of mentioned. Enrichment is something else that we do. There are numerous opportunities for enrichment, as well as the ones I've mentioned. Year 12s, if and when you join us, every Tuesday you get involved in enrichment where you support a year 7 or 8 group with their enrichment. So you support a teacher. So, for example, students support with girls football, boys football, chess club, the Harry Potter club, and so on and so forth. And everyone within year 12 gets to do that. We also offer the EPQ, the Extended Project Qualification. It's like half an A-level, which you may want to get involved with as well. And we'll find out more about that very shortly. And then finally, form times. Obviously, that's a massive part of building a community, isn't it? And feeling like you've got that network there. A lot of activities that we do are based around the key events in the year. And obviously, sixth form support is always there as well. And we try to make sure that things like life skills sessions are all based around society and understanding each other a little bit better. So we're all a bit more kind of tolerant and understanding of everyone in our community.
Okay, so what I'm going to talk about now is the support and structures that we have in place to help our Year 12s as they go through their time here at Sir Christopher Hatton Academy. First thing I want to think about is what support is in place for the students generally. So straight away we have Timetable Private Study. Now I mentioned that a little bit earlier on. So that's for the students when they drop down from 4 subjects to 3 subjects, just to make sure that they are using their time in the best way possible. What we'll do is, as opposed to being a proper free lesson where they can organise their own time, organise their own study, what they want to do, we put them into a private study lesson where they will be in one of our rooms in F block with other people who are studying that, and that gives them a chance under a quiet environment to make sure they're getting on with their coursework and things like that. Now, that's just one of the rooms in the Sixth Form Hub. The Sixth Form Hub itself is probably the best resource that the Sixth Formers are going to have. It is their space within the school that's away from all the other students. It's a private place for them to go in between their lessons, where there is rooms for them to study in. We have nearly 50 computers in different places throughout the block. There's also space for them to sit down and relax, talk to their friends, and there's even a cheeky vending machine that the other students don't get access to. They find that the best part. There's a small sort of kitchen area as well, where there's microwaves, toasters, things like that. So again, they have facilities that you would not get in the lower school that is just there for the sixth formers to help them feel a little bit more independent. Then at a subject level, much as they will have been having now with their teachers with GCSEs, there will be interventions. The subjects will put interventions that are subject specific in place to support the students, especially as we start coming closer to the deadlines for the BTECs or to those all-important exams for the A-levels. Earlier on, we looked at the form tutor team. Those form tutors become their first point of call. Okay, the form tutors will be arranging one-on-one mentoring sessions with them to make sure they're settling in, to make sure they have access to all the things they need to, and to make sure they're on the right track and to make sure they're progressing as we'd want to see them. They'll have what we call our personal development plan, the PDP. That is a document that they'll get at the beginning of Year 12. That, almost think of it, for those of you who have done the HBAC, as a very grown-up version of the HBAC. We look at all the things that a Year 12 student should be achieving throughout their year. That is both in terms of their academic growth, but also, are they looking at what their next options are going to be? Because whilst now we're looking at what your options to A-level are going to be, in 2 short years, you're going to be looking at potentially universities. So we get them to start thinking about that. Have they gone to any university websites? Have they started looking them up? Have they started thinking about what kind of careers they want to do? So that all comes with their personal development plan. And on the subject of Ucas, as you saw earlier on, Mrs. Dutt is our dedicated Ucas coordinator. She does an amazing job of making sure everybody gets all their personal statements done, all their applications done, and she monitors them going in and makes sure that people understand what the process is. There's a lot of support we put in place for students who are applying through Ucas for their next level going on from A-level. We take them to the local Ucas convention in Bedford, okay, which is a short bus ride away, and they get to speak to staff from universities, finding out what it is universities are looking for. We have specific sessions put in place for those students who are looking to apply to Oxford. As you saw earlier on, for the last 5 years or so, we've regularly been sending students to Oxford universities. It is something we are incredibly proud of, and it's a tradition we want to keep going. So we identify those students in Year 12 who have aspirations to apply to Oxbridge, and we put on extra sessions for them because there's a lot involved in an Oxbridge application. And we make sure they're supported. We get past students who have applied for it to come in and speak to them. And we basically make sure they've got the best shot they have of getting into it. And then for all the other students who maybe not looking at Oxbridge, we go through the whole Ucas process. There's a lot of time during life skills which is put over to creating the personal statements, putting together their application, researching universities, and making sure they're making the right choices for them. It's not just universities. For some people, after A-level, it might be time to go on to a career. It might be time to go on to a higher level apprenticeship, or maybe you're going on to something else like the armed forces, or just into employment. So there are a lot of options ahead of students when they leave A-level. And as a result, the full careers package that you would have got in lower school is in place here again. And in fact, it's probably even more so, as you saw earlier on. We've also got another member of the sixth form team, Mr. Lane, who's our dedicated careers coordinator for the sixth form. So, as the rest of the school will do Careers Day, there is a Careers Day specific for the sixth form. Again, we will get in a lot of the universities, but we'll also get in all the other options that they might have at that. And again, much like the Ucas convention in Bedford, it gives them a chance to speak directly to the university to find out what it is they're offering, what it is that is required to get there. They will also do work experience. This is really important. This takes place over 2 weeks towards the end of Year 12, after all the exams have happened. We will place them all with a real employer and they will work there for 2 weeks. It is an incredibly important part of it, and we have had great success stories coming back from them. And we've had students who have, based on how they've been in those work experience, have been offered high-level apprenticeships with those organisations going forward when they finish in Year 13. As part of the curriculum, a lot of the subjects will get in employers to talk to the students, to explain to the students what it is that they're doing and how it will translate into the world of work. And that's such an important part for the different subjects. Sometimes when you're sitting and you're studying your subjects, it's hard to see how that is going to relate to a real world work situation. And that's what we put into the subjects at A-level, is we make sure it's clear to the students what the skills that you're picking up and how they would be used in the world of work. And there will be a lot of other assemblies, workshops, things like that will go out throughout the year to support students, whether they're looking at university or looking at going into other forms of employment or apprenticeship afterwards. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the application process, how it is you apply to join us at sixth form. It is an easy process. It's spread out over most of the rest of the year, and it might look complex. It's really not. It really is very, very simple. And it starts now. In November with the open evening. And here it says ask questions. That's such an important thing, because at this point there are no silly questions to ask. There are only questions, and any question is a good question. So if there's anything you don't understand, there's anything that we haven't explained clearly, or any of the teachers you go speak to don't explain clearly, please ask. It's either in person, or at the end we'll be showing our email that you can email to. And even if it's a subject-specific one, if you email it to us, we will make sure it gets passed on to the relevant relevant head of subject. Then, through the rest of November, we have our external student tours. That's a chance for students who are not familiar with Sir Christopher Hatton to come in and get a more one-to-one intimate feel of what the school is. We'll tour them around, show them lessons going on, and again, answer any questions they may have. Then also through November and also through December, it's time for the application form. Okay? Now, the application form is now live on our website. So if you go to the Sir Christopher Hatton website and go to the sixth form area, you will see the application process, and you'll see links to 2 application forms. One is for internal students, one is for external students. So you've got to make sure you go to the right one. You'll tell if it's the internal one because you have to sign in using your school ID. If you don't sign in, you're at the external one. Okay? They should be done before the end of this year. Okay? And that gives us a chance to look at the numbers of who are applying and make sure we have the right resources in place. Then come January, it's probably one of the most important parts of it, and that is the taste day. That is where we will have a day, we will invite all the applicants in, and they will do a day of A-level lessons. Okay? They will also get to use the sixth form block. We will get them to dress like sixth formers. For that day, we want them to be sixth formers. We want them to feel what it's like to be a sixth form, because that is going to help their process. Then in February, we will have interview week where all the people who have applied, they will have a one-on-one interview with either myself or Mr. Green, and we will talk to them to find out what it is exactly they want to get out of the experience of sixth form and make sure we are in the best position to offer them what they want. After that, we will send out confirmations of places. Now, the confirmation of place, as you might expect, is purely based on the grades that you are going to get in August, which you're going to come on to in a minute, because that is the absolute most important part of it. But we will then give you an offer of a place based on the grades that you're going to achieve. During April, and basically the rest of that year, I suppose, we keep an eye on the applications, we keep an eye on where students' grades are. Okay, because it might find that if people find that all of a sudden they're doing a lot better than they were previously, they might want to re-examine their options. Sadly, if it goes the other way again, they may want to re-examine their options. So we are always on hand throughout the year if any students then want to talk to us about where their application is and if they want to make any slight changes to their options. Then it gets to August, as I said, this is the big one, this is the important one, this is that day where you rip open that envelope and you look at your GCSE results, and that will define what courses you can and cannot get onto. And on that day in August, myself, Mr. Green, the rest of the sixth form team, we will be there. Okay, we will be there to support you as soon as you get those, as soon as you're ready, you come talk to us, and it could just be as simple of, yes, I'm going to accept the offer that you gave me on the course that I previously applied for, and we'll enroll you straight away. Or we might have a conversation if you want to look at different subjects, if maybe the grades you got mean that you have to look at a different set of subjects. It could be you got better grades, and now you can do subjects that you didn't think you could do before. But we'll have those conversations, and again, we will enroll you into the sixth form at that point. And then in September, well, that's when it all begins. That's when you start your life as a year 12. That's when you start as a sixth form at Christopher Hatton Academy. We do also still do late enrollments at that point, so if you think perhaps you wanted to go to a college and as it gets closer you think, maybe I made a mistake, the door is never closed, and we will happily enroll you at that late stage as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Marr. It was really comprehensive. If you do have any questions, then as Mr. Marr said, please feel free to address those to us at any point. As you can see on the screen there, our email address is sixthforminfo@hattonacademy.org.uk. And again, as Mr. Marr said, there are no silly questions. You've not been through this process before, and we are always on hand to answer those questions. Obviously, you can approach us, students, as well, anytime in the school. If we're teaching, come and find us, and we'll be happy to help. Just before you go, just wanted to draw your attention to the flyer that you were given when we came in. On one side, you'll notice is a map of where all our subjects are based today and where you can find each subject. There are some students on hand as well to help you find the different locations. And then on the other side, there are 3 QR codes. So the first QR code takes you to our prospectus, and we have deliberately this year done it online. It's not printed, and we've done that because we are aware of our carbon footprint, which kind of seems very relevant in this week, doesn't it, with CCOP. So if you scan that, it will take you to our prospectus, and you can see what you need to get into each subject. And then again, as Mr. Marr referred to earlier on, there are 2 further QR codes. One is if you are an internal student and you would like to apply for our sixth form. And then the second one is if you're an external student and you'd like to apply, we need a slightly different set of information from you, then you can scan that. So please keep hold of that. We do have some spares, I'm sure, so if you lose it, it's not the end of the world. But please keep that with you, and please refer to the prospectus as you're going around. So your job now is to hopefully go and speak to some teachers in the different subject areas, and we hope you find the rest of this evening really, really useful. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to your applications. Thank you.